Hey, sister.
Hey, sister.
How much fun was Rewinding Big last week with Tom Hanks wishing his way into adulthood?
It was so fun. That's one of my very favorites. He was adorable. I think that's when he won America's hearts.
I agree with that. You know, it had me thinking though later, because some crazy things happened this past week. Like when you are young, you think adulthood's going to be great, and it comes with a whole
Absolutely
set of its own problems.
You just can't wait to grow up. And then you're like, oh.
Yep. What's that? There's this one little musical. I don't think it's Annie. I won't grow up. I won't grow up. That's
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. That's right. He had
Peter Pan knew.
He knew.
Well, this week we're shifting gears in a major way.
Yes, we are.
Because, real fans, we are getting into spooky season.
Yes.
So we're moving from lighthearted laughs to a story that's dark, chilling, and unforgettable, which is perfect for our first spooky season movie.
It is. It's a movie that stirred up controversy and had people talking, and it still leaves people feeling like unsettled and a little creeped out decades later.
That's right, real fans. Today, we're rewinding the 1987, just want to make sure you know that, 1987 version of Flowers in the Attic.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Missy. And this is Real Sisters Rewind.
Join us as we go back to the 80s.
Hey, real fans. Welcome back to Real Sisters Rewind, back to the 80s. We're two sisters who love movies and love to revisit the ones that left a mark. This one left a mark. And especially all of those from the 80s films. We think they're the best ever.
That's right. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we love for you to subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating, and write a review.
Yes, if you haven't done that yet, take a little time to do it. And when you do it, take a screenshot and email it to hello@realsistersrewind.com, because we're sending out Real Sisters stickers to all of our listeners who show us some love.
That's right. And this week, we are diving into one of the most haunting and controversial movies of the decade, Flowers in the Attic. If you haven't seen it in a while or you've never seen it,
probably there are people who've never even heard of it. They're like on the podcast today going, I've never even heard of this.
Not if they were kids of the 80s.
Maybe. I betcha. But let us hear from you, real fans.
Yes. So before we get into it, let's rewind the clock to when this movie was released in 1987.
Flowers in the Attic hit theaters on November 20th, 1987. Amanda, I was 19 years old.
I was 11. I did not see this in the theater. I saw it, my friend that I've talked about before, who had every movie you could ever think of in their VCR home video library.
Yeah. Is this Melinda Dever?
Yes.
I was thinking so, yeah.
We watched it there. And then it was it continued to be like a sleepover party movie that we would rent on the regular. Like Flowers in the Attic was definitely one of those.
Yeah. Well, I did not see it in theaters, but this was a book before it was a movie with the same title. Did you ever read the book, sister? It was published in 1979 and written, of course, by B.C. Andrews.
I did. I read the book after I saw the movie, and then read the books after it. The sequels.
The sequels,
yes,
yeah.
I read the sequels, many of the sequels after it. So yes, I did.
To prepare for our episode, I was Googling, trying to find some information on the author, Mrs. Andrews, because I was like, what is her background? Like, this chick writes some deep stuff. And so I found this YouTube by Kalia Barber. I'm not sure if that's exactly right. I actually want to reach out to her and see if she'd come do a bonus podcast with us
Ooh,
and
that'd
talk
be
about
fun.
it. But in the video, she had done all kinds of research on the book and the author, who actually isn't VC Andrews, it's CV Andrews. Her name is Cleo Virginia. And she was
Oh.
57 years old when she published this novel. She wrote it in 2 weeks, sister. And then the publisher suggested some revisions, and she did it in one night. Now,
Wow.
she died in 1986 from breast cancer. Now, this is fascinating. I know, bless her heart.
Aw.
But this is what's fascinating. When she died, she had 2 books that were left unwritten, I guess, in the series.
Yeah.
The estate hired a ghostwriter, Andrew Niederman, to finish her 2 remaining books. It was Garden of Shadows and Falling Hearts. But he kept going. And V.C. Andrews is credited with writing 102 books, but only 8 of those 102 books were written solely by her before her death in 86.
Oh, wow.
And the IRS came after the estate for like millions of dollars in taxes.
But couldn't it? Well, interesting, because I would think he would just be like considered a ghostwriter.
I guess, but maybe because she had passed and her social security number wasn't out there anymore.
Oh.
Like, I'm not sure, but
What the
they
deal
got
is,
into
yeah.
some trouble.
Interesting.
And I'm just going to say this right now. The book, because when I was watching this with Kalia, first of all, I remember reading the book as a child and it freaked me out. And of course, I read it before the movie. But the book is much more graphic
Yeah.
and disturbing than the movie. And
Yep.
we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through it.
But the movie is plenty disturbing.
It is plenty disturbing.
But yes, the book, actually, all of the books continue in that same like
Yes.
light.
Yeah.
And I will say, because we may have some fans that are readers, this week, maybe I can link somewhere the whole series of books, like the order that they come in, if anybody's interested in reading them. Because I did read several of these after Flowers in the Attic.
Yeah, you were a big reader. I definitely read Flowers in the Attic and the next one, Petals in the Wind. But then I
Yes.
do believe I kind of was done with them after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, let's hop into our pop culture spotlight. We'll come back and talk a lot more about the movie and the book too. Also, we'll make analogies throughout. But when Flowers in the Attic hit theaters, the number 1 song at the time was Money Money by
No, it
Billy
was not
Idol.
Money Money. It was
Money,
Money.
Money.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you're right. I just it's supposed to be money,
Money,
I
money.
guess, but it's not. But here's what I found interesting, sister, as I was doing my research. The number 1 song for the 2 weeks before the movie came out could have maybe been the theme song for Flowers in the Attic. So 87, can you guess?
Okay, I actually think I know what it is, but I want you to give me a clue first.
Bubblegum pop star, mall star sang it.
Tiffany.
And the song was?
The flowers that you gave me were just about to die. Is that it?
I think we're alone now.
Oh, I was singing the flowers because the flowers in the attic.
That
Oh
was
my
a
God.
great guess. And it's the same artist. So that's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Yep. Okay. I think we're alone now would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Very appropriate. Well, okay, so this is kind of interesting, and this is a cool connection because we were just talking about Punky Brewster, I think, in the last episode.
Right.
But yes, so Cosby Show's still at the top of the TV charts. Great. You know,
Beat
we
and
love them.
repeat.
Yeah,
Yep.
we love them. But here's something is interesting. So we talked about, like I said, I think it was the last episode, we were talking about Punky Brewster. And I told you the show was on for a couple of seasons. And then at the end of the 86 season, 1985-86,
It was canceled.
It was canceled, correct. Okay.
Okay.
But they continued production for another year for 86 and 87.
Okay.
But they didn't air it because it had been canceled.
Right.
And so they filmed it with the intention of knowing that the original seasons were going to go into syndication, and they would just tack it on to the back. Like once the show was in syndication, and then they would just add in this other like third season.
Interesting. So it's almost like it was Netflix streaming and dropping the new stuff. The Summer I Turned Pretty, except it was Punky Brewster, and it was on wherever it was being syndicated.
Yep, exactly.
So cool.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. Like never ever. So pretty cool.
That is cool. Okay, so we always do People magazine. The one that had come out just before the movie was the always famous best and worst dressed. And as I was trying to find it, it was listing the people who were on the magazine, and they were like Fergie. And I was like, oh, I don't like. In my mind, I thought of Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas, but
totally,
it wasn't. It was, I don't know if I think she's
Duchess
Fergie, or Princess,
something like that.
Royal Fergie, and then Spuds MacKenzie is on there. I guess he's dressed with his. I think they put a tuxedo sometimes on Spud MacKenzie. They had Brigitte Nielsen. She was with Rocky. Madonna was on there, Elizabeth Taylor, Bruce Willis, and Diane. Oh, I've just lost her name. What is her name? Diane Keaton. And she looks crazy. She's got a black and white scarf tied in her hair like a big bow, red gloves. Very interesting, and actually very 80s. So yeah, it was the best and worst dress, and that's all they have on the cover.
I feel like she always dressed kind of weird.
She is kind of an odd dresser.
And what's that lady's name? You said the blonde,
Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah, she's we talked about her in a movie, and I can't remember what it was, because I was like, oh, is she the lady that was in Rocky? And she is. Yeah. Isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
I wish I could. It was from season 1. I can't remember
I can't remember either.
Oh, man. I'll have to think about it. Okay. All right. So let's get into our Do You Remembers.
Okay.
All right. Do you remember on November 22nd, 1987, an unknown perpetrator wearing a Max Headroom mask hijacked the signals of WGN TV and WTT in Chicago, or WTTW in Chicago, interrupting their broadcast with a distorted video and audio message? This remains an unsolved mystery in broadcast history.
I do not remember that. But I do remember Max Headroom because he was like this digital man, right? So he was kind of like and he was like for the new Coke, like catch the wave.
He was like their spokesperson, but he wasn't a real person.
Yeah, right.
He was like digital, which was not that weird now, but for then it was very like innovative. But yeah.
And so somebody hijacked the airwaves. Interesting. And they
as if it was
him.
I'm like wondering if this was a marketing ploy.
Probably so, but who knows? It says it was a distorted video and audio message is what you said. So
yeah, it's creepy. But I will say, if you all people like real fans listening, if you don't remember Max Headroom or you're like, who's that? Go Google that on YouTube so you can see some of the, because they were Coke commercials.
Yeah. But I think he did a lot of different things. You'll have to maybe put something on social about it.
Yeah, yeah, because it'll take you back. When you see it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Well, another do you remember, sister, power suits for women. Like double-breasted suits. They had fitted waist, huge padded shoulders. As a matter of fact, if you look at that picture of Diane Keaton, she's got on a power suit jacket. So it was a sign of the times. And boy, I remember, like, if you had something that didn't have shoulder pads in it, you had to stick shoulder pads. Like, you had, removable ones, and you'd
I
stick them in
remember
whatever it is.
you and Mom having the removable shoulder pads, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones you would put in your clothes, like your dresses and stuff. I remember those.
Oh, yeah. And it was like, oh, it's not quite big enough. And sometimes you double them up to get.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I missed that.
Yeah. I was actually researching that, and the first power suits for women came out in the 20s, which makes sense because that was kind of like
I can
women's
imagine
rights.
that look too. Yeah.
But it's odd. They came back every 20 years, the 20s, the 40s, the 60s, the 80s. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, they don't need to come back anymore.
Oh, they'll be back. They'll be back. Okay,
fashion
I
always
know
cycles.
we said we had so much to say about the movie. We were going to be fast, but I have one more.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when I'm researching to find, do you remember? I'll find something that I don't remember, but I wonder if anyone else does. And of course, we all remember like the smoke, like campaigns against smoking, right?
Yeah. Say no to drugs.
Say no to drugs.
This is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs. Well, this is similar to that, except I would just call it a cocaine commercial. So, do you remember when we were growing up and Granny Bell had the coffee table, and she had like a piece of glass that covered the whole surface of the coffee table, like to protect the wood?
Yeah.
But to decorate, you would put pictures of those you loved between the top, right under the glass.
Like big pictures, like
like big pictures, 5x7s and all that.
8x10s.
Sometimes even the little wallet size, maybe of the grandparents, she would stick them in there. So in the commercial, it's showing a table like that, and it's like a dad and the family, and it's,
under the glass.
Under the glass, you're seeing the pictures under the glass, and then all of a sudden you see a little bag dump some white stuff onto like the family pictures, and the narrator's like, "You've got so much going for you.
You've got so much to live for."
Yeah. Don't blow it. And so the whole cocaine commercial is like, don't blow it. But he's got a razor blade in his hand. You never see him. You see the table, the cocaine, and the razor blade. And he's like scooping it. I don't know what you call that, but like he's scooping the cocaine into those long
like cutting
lines.
it.
And it's like, don't blow it, which isn't that a play on words? Because you don't
you snort it.
Which is the opposite of blowing it. And I just was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was something.
Unhinged.
It was unhinged. It was the 80s. You always say it.
Which is perfect because our movie is unhinged today too. All right. You ready to get into the movie?
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
The screenplay for our movie was written and directed by Jeffrey Bloom, which I found humor in that because it's Flowers in the Attic, and it's Jeffrey Bloom, which kind of takes me back to Lily Bloom.
Oh, what a mess that is.
Yeah, that was a mess. But it was based, as we've already said, on the novel, same name, by V.C. Andrews. Andrews also had script approval during the production. So she was involved in the production of the movie. One thing I thought was interesting is that the novel is actually set in the 1950s, but the film was actually set in modern day 1980, which of course was when it was produced.
I wonder with her being involved with the movie, if they were like, look, VC or CV, we're going to need to pull this back a little bit. This is a little much.
Oh, yes.
Like we're going to have to tone this. We're going to have to tone this down a little bit.
Yes, and I actually have some research I found on that too.
Okay. Well, Wes Craven wrote an early screenplay draft and was once tapped to direct. Wes Craven of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger, which we remember him from last spooky season.
Of course.
However, producers found his take on the incestuous storyline too intense and replaced him with Jeffrey Bloom, which is
Can't you imagine that? Like Wes Craven was probably like, let's go all in if we're going to do it.
And VC or CV, whatever, was like, oh yeah, this is my story. Let's do it.
Yeah. So here's a quick little kind of a do you know. We don't usually mention the producers, but the producers of the 87 Flowers in the Attic were Cy Levin and Thomas Fries. And the novel was brought to them, and somebody said, hey, you've got to make a movie on this. Dana Plato from, do you remember? Does that name sound, if I could show you a picture, you'd know who it was.
Was
Dana Plato.
Was she on, I don't know.
She was the sister on The Facts of Life. She was Mr. Drummond's daughter.
Which was on...
Yep.
Don't you be talking about... Would you be talking about Willis?
Yes.
Which was what?
She was the blonde.
Yeah, she was the sister.
She was the sister on...
What was her name?
Oh, I said Facts of Life.
But they are connected.
Yeah,
those shows are connected.
Oh, my goodness. It's not The Facts of Life. Yeah, she was on The Facts of Life.
Different strokes.
Drummond, different strokes. That's right.
Mm-hmm. But they're connected because Mrs. Garrett.
Right.
They're all connected. So
they're all connected, which it kind of goes with this movie because they're all connected. So let's talk about some of the stars.
Okay.
We had Louise Fletcher as the grandmother, Olivia Foxworth.
Spooky.
She was spooky.
Victoria Tennant as the mother, Corinne. And I'm not sure how you say the last name, Dollanganger or Dollinger. So. But put a pin in that.
Okay.
Because, we'll talk about it when we get there. But Olivia Foxworth and Corinne Dollanganger.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. But a young Sharon Stone auditioned for the role of Corinne.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm, me too. But
Victoria, the actress, kind of had
that look.
Yeah.
But producers ultimately and obviously passed on her. But she does play his mother in the movie. Victoria was only 11 years older than Jeb Stuart Adams in real life.
And he, of course, is the one who played Chris Dollanganger. It looks like Dollanganger to me.
I think it is, but if for some reason I'm wanting to say Dollinger, but I think it is Dollanganger. I don't know. Dollanganger. We're going to go with Dollanganger.
We're going to go with Dollanganger, and our real fans will let us know.
Which I hope they do.
Absolutely. We want to be right. But so Jeb Stuart Adams is the one who played him, as you mentioned. He was 26 playing a 16-year-old.
He looked older.
He did look older, which is interesting because in the book, it was a 14-year-old that was who he was. And I mean, you look at that kid. First of all, he was a great looking kid.
Yeah, he was not
taken that grandmother. Unless he was just super respectful, he could have taken her down with one
swoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely looked older. And then also we have Christy Swanson, which we saw in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, as Kathy Dollanganger, and she's the oldest daughter.
Uh-huh.
And she said that V.C. Andrews told her she matched the author's mental image of Kathy during her audition, which is really cool to hear that from the author.
Yes. And just one other cameo appearance we'll mention is that V.C. Andrews, the author, makes a cameo as a maid cleaning a window in the film. And I didn't find that out till after I had done some research, after I had done the rewatch. So I want to go back and see her. Here, another interesting fact, she took a fall when she was a teenager. And it really is how she became artistic in her writing. And she also was drawing pictures and stuff. And she was bound to a wheelchair.
Oh.
At one time, she had a full body cast.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's neat when authors appear in their movies. And I feel like they do that a lot.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay, so the film received a PG-13 rating. Thank goodness PG-13 had come out.
Yes.
Because it needed something more than PG.
Well, I actually thought about that. Like, if we hadn't had PG-13, would they have just gone with R and not taken out a lot of the stuff they've taken out? We may never know, but
yeah, I mean, they would have to do something because it was definitely more than PG. The movie has a runtime of 91 minutes, which is perfect for us.
Yes.
And so it's about an hour and a half, and a budget of about $3.5 million.
Which is low, I guess.
Yeah, and it ultimately grossed $15.2 million in the United States.
So see, to me, all of that makes it feel like a B movie. Like I don't. Like
I agree.
That's why I said, like, there might be people on here that have never heard of this movie.
I agree, but here's why I think not.
Okay.
Why I think that's not the case. Because even though it was a B movie, adults, like our parents, may not be knowing, know about it. But for your age, my age, you knew the books. Like those were Flowers in the Attic was rampant. Like that got passed down.
Yes, everybody
read that
and talking about it.
And then renting movies was such a thing. Like that is what you did on the weekends.
Yeah.
So when you saw Flowers in the Attic on the shelf.
And it did have that great look to it of like a scary movie.
When you saw Flowers on the Attic on the shelf, you have watched that at a sleepover for sure.
Yeah.
So I think, for kids in the 80s, this movie for sure.
Well, for sure, girls, but guys might not.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the guys.
One Eric Stevens.
Well, you have to realize that I was older than you and kind of past reading the book. So it wasn't something that all of us talked about or went to see or anything, but it sounds like y'all really did. Eric said he watched it.
Oh, yeah. He saw it in the theaters. He has hilarious stories about it. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, we're going to have to hear some of those stories. Well, we always talk about winning awards. And actually, believe it or not, the movie actually had a win. Christy Swanson won the Young Artist Award for Best Young Actress in a horror or mystery motion picture.
I could see that.
Yep. And then Louise Fletcher received a Saturn Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress.
Okay. All right.
No Oscars on the show.
No Oscars. No Golden Globes, no Oscars.
No.
They still
Again, I feel like it's a B movie.
Yeah. No, I do too. I agree.
Okay.
All right, fans. It is time to lock the door and draw the curtains. Let's rewind. Flowers in the Attic. All right. So when we open this movie, we immediately see let me back up.
Okay.
From moment one, and I can't really explain why, you already have the creeps. Watch it. Like, even from the get-go.
When it's just a happy family.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From the get-go, when they're this perfect family, they're all beautiful blondes with the older, like the teenage son and daughter, and then the little twins, son and daughter, and the perfect mom and the dad, and everything's perfect, and it's already creepy.
Yeah.
Now, not Christy, but I guess I don't know if it's not Christy's voice, but it's Kathy's character
Right.
narrates the story. Maybe
Right.
that's what's creepy about it. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah,
But
the
it's creepy.
narration was creepy.
I will tell you one thing that kind of made it creepy to me is that, like, even though this was supposed to be taking place in the 80s, they were at their house, but they weren't wearing like normal 80s clothes. They were wearing like, I don't know, like it looked almost a little bit like, I don't know, just fancy. I don't know, something. It just was creepy. Something about it was creepy. You knew something was off.
Yeah.
And
I have something to say about their clothes later too.
yeah,
as well.
so you just felt like something was off. Like they were too like fancy to be just around the house or whatever. And anyway, so we've got Corinne, the mother, Christopher Sr. is the father, and then the 4 kids. Chris, Kathy, and the twins, Carrie and Corey. Again, all C's. It's just feeling creepy.
Well,
go
the
ahead.
dad travels a lot for work.
Yes.
Right. And the family always welcomes him home, which again is a little creepy because they do it in the same place every time. Like, oh, I don't know that they're going to be behind the couch. They hover behind the couch. Surprise, welcome home. However, we do discover that he has a favorite of the 4 children, Kathy.
Yeah. And that is another creepy discovery. Because, well, also with this whole thing with the family feeling creepy, I got the impression that they were very isolated, insulated. Like it seemed like they were their each other's lives. Like that was all they had was just their little family.
Yes, I had that same thought. Yeah.
And that was the impression you got. The other thing about that felt creepy is he brought this music box or porcelain ballerina home from a trip that he brought into her room before bed and was like, oh, look at this gift I got you. It's just special for you, my favorite, or something like that.
Yeah.
And she loves it and it's so special. But did you notice the mom?
Standing at the door.
Yeah, the door's
she was
cracked.
Jealous.
Yes.
And rightly so, maybe.
I guess, but it was weird because I was like, she was standing at the door watching and it wasn't like, oh, it was like she was watching like in a jealous way or I don't know. It was just creepy.
It was creepy.
I was like, what is that about?
I know it. And the Bible tells us not to have favorite kids. It's not good. And he had a favorite kid and it ends up not being good.
Yeah, it ends up not being good. Okay, so on one of these trips, the dad goes on and you can tell that this is an even bigger deal with him coming home because it's his birthday, because they're making a birthday cake and they're getting everything all set up and they're so excited and they hide behind the couch because they've been waiting. He's a lot later than he's supposed to be. They get behind the couch because they hear the doorbell.
They see the lights come in the driveway.
And knock, knock, knock. Mom goes to the door. She steps outside. It's policemen. And we see Kathy, the older sister, scream and like pass out.
She realizes it.
And then
I have to say, when I read that, because I will probably make a lot of analogies to when I read it. Yeah. I remember that was devastating to read. The way VC Andrews wrote that scene, it was hard to read.
Yes.
And it was really just kind of a fleeting moment as this, which led to the family being devastated. Corinne is left financially ruined, which they don't give you any understanding of why she's financially ruined. I mean, they've got a super nice house.
Yeah.
He had obviously a great job. The 4 kids are dressed like they're going to tea every day. Like they had to sell everything. They had to sell everything
to survive.
Yes, everything to survive. And it sets off the turn of events.
Yeah. And this is when I was thinking, because I was saying how I felt like they were isolated. Like this would be a great time for you to have some friends or like a church community or somebody to reach out to,
Right.
because
There's like no one there
I'm
to
like, you literally have to leave everything.
everything. And she tells the kids that she has to return to the wealthy parents' estate because that's the only way they're going to survive. They have nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's Foxworth Hall. They're going to travel to.
Okay, I have this to say.
Okay.
This is what I was going to say about the clothes. They sold everything, she said. Now, granted, I know they didn't sell the clothes off their back, but they literally, and I know the story's supposed to be set in the 80s, but it is very 50s like because they're carrying
It's like Victorian almost or something.
They've got their suitcases and they are dressed to the hilt, like the boys have on their coat and tie, and they take the train. And then when they get dropped, and then they get on a bus because I guess they sold their car, which obviously if they took a train, they wouldn't have the car. But then they're like, it's the middle of the night when they get there.
Yeah.
And they start walking to Foxworth Hall. And like when we see them at Foxworth Hall, it's morning.
Yeah, they've walked all night.
Pristine looking.
Yeah, they walked all night.
Clothes, yeah.
And you're like, where's the Uber? Where's the
taxi? And I may have gotten ahead of where we are in the story, but that was just my whole train of thought about the clothes. Like they're dressed to the hilt and they're going to walk all night after being on a bus. Well,
when they get there, you hear one of the kids be like, they're not sending a car for us. And she's like, we're going to have to walk. So remember, as a never seeing this audience member, you don't know, you're like, well, that's weird. Like what they're going to make, with this strange. And, but yeah, so they walk through the night and carrying all their stuff and the kids and all that. And you're like, man, this is really weird. Well, this is where she explains that Grandpa is on his deathbed.
He's a dying.
He's dying.
He's and she's few breaths short of heaven.
She's been cut out of the will, but she is going to win his love back so she can get back into the will. And
she does say she did something when she was young that angered her mother.
She got disinherited. Yes. And we'll find out what that is later. Yikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's out of the will. And so she's just determined she's going to go back and get right back in there. Which I don't really know why the mom, as mean as she is, would even like allow that, but whatever, she does.
Yeah.
So they're secretly ushered into the mansion.
Right.
In like that morning.
Right.
And oh my gosh, when they get there, like immediately Corinne's like, hi, John, to the butler. And he is not nice at all. But
little Corey, when he was like, hey, John, nice to meet you.
Let's just pause for a minute for the cuteness of Corey.
So cute.
Those little blonde curls, he was adorable.
He was so cute.
And I thought Christy Swanson was just like the coolest. I was like, oh, if I could just be like Christy Swanson.
Yeah, she was until she wasn't in the film. But one thing I was going to say is that Foxworth Hall is actually Castle Hill Mansion, and it's in Massachusetts. And that was the main place that they filmed. But some of the scenes were shot in Beverly Hills at what's called Greystone Mansion. So there's just a little fun fact for you.
Well, it looked very cold.
It looked cold, and I don't mean in the weather sense.
Right. Well, right. It was both, but it was very dark, just cold, and didn't look like a very welcoming place. Like when you think of taking your kids home to grandparents.
Right. And, I think that's one of the things, and especially me, on August 1st, my oldest remarried, and she has a daughter. And so, I guess I'm officially a grandparent parent now.
That's right. You're
right?
a sassy. You're a sassy.
I'm a sassy. She calls me sassy. And I am telling you, I don't know what kind of human could welcome that beautiful group of kids with such coldness and have a heart beating.
Well, you're going to see why.
Yeah, I know. It just freaks me out.
But it's still awful because it's, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so they came in.
They come in and they get taken up to this room, and they're all four children are put into this big room, and they're locked in. Like, this is your room. This is where you're going to stay. And the mom's like, let's take a rest. We've been walking all night. We're going to lay down and go to sleep for a little while. And just take a little rest. And they are so freaked out. They are so freaked out.
They are, but it's so funny because the mama doesn't stay in there with them.
No,
she's going to go on ahead and let grandma lock the door.
Yes. And this is where I want to talk about real quick, meeting the grandmother, Olivia Foxworth. And she's Corinne's mother. She's a witch. She is so stern and cold and frightening. Missy, do we have a note? She's in a lot of other stuff.
She's kind of a character actress.
She's a character actress.
You recognize her from a lot of 100%. Things. Yeah.
But Eric Stevens, my husband, to this day, if anything about Flowers in the Attic comes up, he talks about her, and he's like, I will never forget sitting in the movie screen and that grandmother, her face and that green eyeshadow, and she was terrifying. Like, that part of the movie was so scary to him, and she was just so mean. And she doesn't break. Like, she doesn't warm up to them.
Well, let me tell you, Louise Fletcher stayed in the character as the grandmother off camera.
Oh, boy.
And she stayed in it even during like longer breaks.
Oh, boy. She's one of those.
Yeah. And that just tells me she must enjoy being mean.
And also those poor kids, they were probably terrified of her. I know. The little ones were probably terrified of her. Well, she gives them a list of very strict rules. Yes, and the reason they're locked in the room is because they have to stay hidden from the grandfather. She does not want them to know he exists because he's already sick and not doing well, and that would just put him over the edge.
Yes.
And so they have to stay fairly quiet, and they cannot leave the room, which she locks them in anyway. So they can't be seen or heard.
And she brings them their meals every day, right?
Every day.
She brings them in on this like creepy, squeaky, rolling cart.
Mm-hmm.
And you think she might be trying to do something sweet because every time she brings them a meal, it has 4 cookies on it that grandmother sprinkles with
powdered sugar.
Or that's at least what it looks like.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, well, she is trying to be kind of nice, and the food looks pretty good, so great. So she, every day, would bring them a cart of food. Well, there was something I was going to add here about that. Oh, the rules. So one of the rules, there were 2 queen-size beds in their room, and the rule was the 2 girls sleep together, the 2 boys sleep together, which seems kind of normal anyway. But I will say the twins were really little, and they probably at home had slept in the same room.
Yeah.
And they were like they wanted to stay together. But the oldest sister, Kathy and Chris, kept them apart because they knew that, that was the rule and they didn't want to get in trouble. So that was one of her rules that they were always like kind of having
back to be part of the story later.
They were kind of having to fight the little ones against.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, Corinne is back, but her mom is also cold to her. And if she's back, she's got to be punished for whatever it is she does. And so we see this figure walking up the stairs, which I thought at first glance it was a medical doctor with a medical bag heading up the stairs to see the grandfather. But it wasn't. It was the grandmother.
Mhm.
And she walked into the dad's room, the father who had disowned Corinne. Corinne had to unbutton her shirt. In the bag that I thought was the medical bag that wasn't is a whip. And it comes
Legit
a
whip.
legit whip like our cousins would use if they were herding cattle. Bring the whip out. You see it like, and we know that Corinne is about to get whipped for her punishment. And
Well,
then,
we actually see a little
right, I know.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then I guess as part of our punishment is she's got to go show the kids, doesn't she?
Yes. And so she the grandmother takes her to the kids and is like, show them, take off your shirt. And she doesn't want to, and she's him hawing around, but of course she demands it. And she slides the back of her shirt off, and so you see the lash marks, which
Oh,
I'm
it's
also
horrible.
like, there would have been blood all over the back of that
All
shirt.
over that white shirt.
You would have seen that. It was like a silky white shirt.
Yeah, it would have been sticking to it and been bloody.
Yeah. But the kids, of course, are super freaked out. And the mom insists that this is only temporary until she can win back her father's favor and inherit his fortune. And then they'll have more than they could have ever dreamed of. So,
And who the heck cares?
you're right.
I mean, I'd rather be living in a little rental building with my 4 kids, all of us up in one bed, than endure any of this mess for the fortune.
I know.
But don't you think, and it may be precisely stated in the movie, that the grandmother wanted Corinne to show the kids that so that they would obey her rules?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like to see how serious, like this is, because she says, like, this is how we discipline in this house. And at this point, this is interesting because we see changes in these characters. At this point, Corinne is very concerned for her children. Like she doesn't want to show them, she doesn't want to upset them. And she is visiting them every day and checking on them and reminding them, obey your grandmother, just follow the rules. This isn't going to be forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One thing I wanted to add really quick because it was driving me crazy. I had to look, and yes, the Louise Fletcher who plays the grandmother has done a lot of character roles, but I knew her from something bigger. She was Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and
I've never seen that.
Oh, with Jack Nicholson.
I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Is it an 80s movie or late 70s?
I think like 70s. But yeah, like incredible. Like she won an Oscar for her performance.
Oh, well, she didn't win one for this.
No, she didn't. But I knew she had done some other like bigger things. So anyway, their first day is in the attic. They're just kind of trying to adjust. I say the attic. They're not in the attic yet. They're in the bedroom.
They're
just
in
in
a bedroom with a bathroom.
With a bathroom, exactly. That's all it is right now. And they're trying to adjust. The mom, like I said, is visiting constantly. Kathy and Chris are basically becoming parents to the twins because the mom comes to visit about once a day or so, but that's it. It's just like a quick little visit and she's gone.
Little check-in. I've got to go win my daddy over.
Yeah. So they're given their once a day food and they're kept very isolated and I'm sure bored to tears.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. And the grandmother throws fits at the slightest infraction. She's, punishing them, and it's just sad to watch how scary it is. And I will say that test audiences, as we begin to get into this, when we were talking about the rating and the book versus the movie, test audiences strongly rejected the scenes that were so controversial in the book, scenes about that were just graphic. And they actually did film some of them, but came back and did re-edits.
And when you say graphic, just to FYI, it's Kathy and Chris.
Yes.
Yep. And that happens more as the story goes further on. It's at first just normal, but they don't happen in the movie anyway.
Yeah, they don't happen at all in the movie.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was thinking they did because, again, I remember the book so much.
But no, they don't. That doesn't happen in the movie. Which great. I'm glad the audience is
Me too. I don't want to see any of that for sure.
But the grandmother, but you know what? I'm kind of backing up a little bit. It's important, I think, that you said that because that still is sort of a underlying theme of the movie that you keep kind of waiting to hear something to happen because the grandmother's so like serious about them not sleeping in the same bed. And in fact, she brings them their breakfast one morning when they have overslept and the twins had gotten up in the middle of the night or something and they had ended up switching beds.
Right.
And they were still asleep when she comes in with the cart of food and freaks out, flips out, like totally goes nuts about them breaking this rule.
Yep.
And there are several altercations that continue like this, and they lead to some outbursts and physical abuse from the grandmother and also the kids lashing out at her.
Yeah. At one point, Corey bites her leg. That's pretty early on. Like he gets mad at her throwing a fit and he goes down and he bites her leg. And
But things are getting bad. And Christopher's like, we got to get out of here. So they do plan an escape. This was unhinged. He's figured out a way that he can go through the window and they have a rope that he is going to shimmy on down.
Yes.
And then just head on out. And Kathy is like, well, I'm going too, which like, okay.
Because he was going to like leave and go get help or something.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's so stupid. You're going to leave the babies. That's so stupid. But whatever. So, and of course, they go on a night when it's storming. Maybe that was on purpose. I don't remember. Like maybe they went on a stormy night because they were thinking they wouldn't.
The sounds could be the thunder or something.
Yeah. But they go. So Christopher is shimmying down the rope. Kathy's made it out onto the roof. And the minute he hits the ground, the lights come on. And he's forgotten about the guard dogs that they do see when they're walking up to the mansion in the beginning. And those guard dogs take on, like, immediately come after him.
It's like my worst nightmare.
And, of course, Kathy is up on the roof and she's like, climb back up, Christopher. You can do it. And he just shimmies right back up on that rope. And I'm thinking, well, Christopher must have gotten an A+ in PE back in the days when they used to
presidential fitness test.
Yeah, like when they would climb the rope, because there is no way. Like, are you kidding me? That is so hard. And he just, in the wet rain, that rope is wet. He's wet. He just climbs right back on. Makes it just in time the dogs don't get him, and makes it back onto the roof. And we said earlier how old he looks, but I had made a note. Did you notice in this scene, like he looks like a full-grown man here?
Yeah, I did. Like I thought it the whole time.
Like he could have been the dad.
Yeah.
He looked so old.
He could have. Well, it's around this time, and maybe it had already started, which is why the escape is Corinne's visits become fewer and fewer. And the twins are like, Mom doesn't even come anymore. And so to pacify them and to not realize their mom's not there as often, which is strange, she tells them about the secret attic through the closet that's huge and it's full of adventure. And she tells the older kids to make it a playground for the twins. Talk about creepy. Still, the attic was creepy.
The attic was creepy, and there was all kinds of pretty interesting stuff there, but looked very old, Victorian,
Yeah.
like old stuff.
And so interesting. You had a microscope for Chris, who wants to be a doctor, and medical books,
And a medical book.
and a ballerina
Ballet
bar.
An outfit, ballet outfit
Yeah,
she had
outfits,
on.
just everything you could.
And construction paper and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was all very dusty and dirty. And
Yes,
dark.
it was. Yeah.
I also, this is where, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like they like put on attic play clothes. Like I feel like they start wearing like Victorian clothes in this part. Like he's got those shirts with the collar.
Yeah, it looks like Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I'm like, are those like play clothes from the attic or what? Like,
I don't know. Unhinged.
and we just whatever. If it's scary, creepy, maybe we're fine. We'll believe it. But they do, play up there and spend all of their time up there at this point. And it does keep them entertained and passes the time. At this point, Corinne occasionally, rarely visits. In fact, to the point where the twins don't even really I shouldn't say recognize her as their mom, but acknowledge her as the mom.
Yeah, it's not like they're even excited to see her anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And, Christopher and Kathy are definitely coming down on her about it.
And did you notice how when she would come in, it got to the point where she was dressed more fancy.
Yep. She was very lavishly dressed and oh, grandfather's getting so close to death and it's not going to be much longer. And Kathy and Chris were like, who cares? The twins are not doing well. Corey seems, it's like he's sick and this is not okay. And so she admits that she is seeing a new man, Bart Winslow, who happens to be the lawyer for the dad.
Yeah, she's a conniver.
Mm-hmm.
She's evil. I'm sorry.
She's bad. She
evil.
is. Yeah. She is evil. So
And actually at that point they're ready to say, we're doing anything we have to do to get out of here. We don't care anymore. But the mom sweet talks Christopher to say, give me just a little bit longer. Give me just a little bit longer.
Because remember, let's go back to this thought about how Kathy was the dad's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Not Corey. Christopher always gave the mom much more benefit of the doubt than Kathy did.
Yes, for sure.
He was oh no, mom would never hurt us. Mom's trying her best. And Kathy's not buying it. She's like, I call BS.
Yeah. Yeah. It's her women's intuition.
That's right, girl. So the children, they're malnourished. Even though they're getting some food brought to them, they're not doing well. They haven't been outside, and I don't know how long.
They literally are beginning to look like living ghosts.
They've got they're very pale. Yeah. They've got dark circles under their eyes. It's bad. Corey, the little boy twin, is really weak and ill.
Yeah.
And this was really funny to me. The way they discover he needs help is in the attic. Like you said, there's a medical book.
Sure, of course.
And he's sitting there studying the medical book and
with a microscope right beside him.
Sure.
In case he needs to look at something in the microscope.
Sure. And he starts to ask Corey about his symptoms. Hey, Corey, do you feel this? Do you feel that? And they start thinking he is going to need help. He's really, really sick.
Right.
Now, I will say, I do have to give this little plug here. even though we don't see any of the things that audiences rejected between Chris and Kathy, we do.
Let's just say, in case anybody's wondering and they haven't figured out, Chris and Kathy have feelings
for each
for
other.
one
And-
another.
Yeah, and
Yes.
especially in the book. As we kind of see this,
Yes.
their emotionally maturing and bonding, and it's sort of confusing and nothing happens, but yeah.
It's gross. Yes, it's gross. But you do feel it, even though it's not blatantly said. Like when she's in the bathtub
And he's, like,
"Can I
washing her
come
back."
in?"
Yeah.
And yes, she's got bubbles and it's covering up her, all of her lady parts. But he's like got the sponge and he's talking to her
Yeah.
while he rubs the
Well, grandmother busts
on the
in on one
back.
of those times and
Oh,
goes bananas.
oh,
But I will say one thing about that, and I think this is interesting. He says to the grandmother when she busts in and freaks out, like, what do you expect? You've locked the four of us, 2 boys and 2 girls, in it. Like, we're gonna see stuff. Like, what?
right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it is almost like she put them in a position for something bad to happen.
Yeah, I guess my mind is already like just going.
All right. So remember those little cookies you talked about?
The ones with the
powdered sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So we're continuing to see every time the food comes up, those are coming up with it.
That sweet grandmother's just giving them a little sweet treat.
Yes. And
Or is
I
she?
have always wondered, because I've seen this many times,
Uh-huh.
was the grandma, and I don't know that we know a real answer. Was the grandmother poisoning them all along? Or did
I
that
think
not
so,
start
yes.
until later?
No, I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the grandmother said early on the grandfather could never know about them.
Right.
So I think yes.
Interesting.
So she goes into what we see later is she brings out the cookies. She's getting them ready. She goes up to a locked cabinet, pulls out this beautiful silver sugar shaker and shakes it all on and then puts it back up in the locked cabinet. And Corey, I guess because he's probably he was the smallest, and so it affected him more than it did the others. He just becomes sicker and sicker and sicker.
Well, and we also see him, like there's a couple of different times where we see him like grabbing another cookie. Like he may have been eating more.
That's
of them.
true. That's true.
And like we said, Chris is suspecting, he knows that Corey's getting sick, but he starts to suspect that something is wrong with the food from his Dr. Spidey senses and his medical book, but also because
the rat who was the
his
pet died.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he had been feeding him the cookies.
Right.
So they're like, this is a problem.
Finally, when the mom and grandmother go up there, Chris has had it with his mom at this point. He knows. He's like, you take him to the hospital right now or else. Like, I believe if they hadn't taken Corey, he would have like bulldozed them and gotten out of the house. Like he was done. He didn't trust his mom anymore.
But I think this is such a fun, like not funny, but like funny, weird part because it's just Corinne. And when he's telling her this, she acts so dumbfounded, like that he is speaking to her that way.
Right.
And she's very disconnected. And so instead of like scooping up her baby and taking him to the hospital, she just goes to get the grandmother.
Yeah.
And,
I forgot that she had done that.
Kathy's screaming and yelling, and Corinne slaps her, and the grandmother comes in and says, "Get him. We are taking him to the hospital right now."
Oh, yeah.
And so you're like, oh, okay.
But then the camera pans to a man shoveling.
Mm-hmm.
And we see him digging a grave.
One grave.
One grave. We see him digging it. And then the camera pans out and he's actually dug 3 other graves.
Yeah. So 4.
So 4 graves on the estate at
Mhm.
Foxworth Castle.
Exactly. Foxworth Manor.
Ah,
So at this
Castle
point, we
Manor.
know for
Evil
sure.
place, yeah.
We know for sure.
That they are
And-
trying to kill him.
But they don't know that yet, obviously.
No.
And so the mom comes back and just very coldly says, Corey has died. We took him to the hospital. He had pneumonia. He didn't make it.
Right.
Well, of course, Kathy, Carrie, Chris, they're devastated. And they are like, we're being poisoned. And you know, this also is about the time we see the mom. It's not the grandmother putting the sugar on the cookies anymore.
I know.
The mother's doing it.
She's horrible.
She's
horrible
in that white
people.
silk nightgown, and she's putting the sugar or it's arsenic, it's poison on the cookies. So, they know that something's going on because, like we said, they found the mouse that ate the powdered cookies, and they know that they're being poisoned.
And they know more is going on. Like,
yeah, definitely.
And Chris is like, we got to figure this out. We got to know more. And so he decides
he's like, we need
going to go learn more.
We need the Scooby-Doo gang to help us solve this mystery. So he does sneak out of the room, and he discovers that their mother is marrying Bart and has told everyone that she has no children. So everyone thinks that she has no children because they've been hidden away in this attic the whole time.
Right.
But when Christopher sneaks out, and I think Kathy was with him on this little sneak out as well, they discover that the grandfather is now dead.
Had been dead for a couple of months.
That he's been dead. And they see, and this is how they realize that the mom's told everyone that she doesn't have children, because they see his will is in there, and they see that she is only allowed the fortune to be inherited so long as there are no children from her previous marriage.
Right. So can we just stop here for a second? Because I don't know, I can't remember if it was ever mentioned in the movie. But the reason the grandmother and the grandfather were so angry is because Corinne had married her uncle.
Yeah. Oh, it does come out in the movie.
Okay. I couldn't
It does
remember.
come out in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. It does come out in the movie.
Okay.
But yeah, because the grandmother, the grandmother tells them eventually.
Okay.
So
that's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
So they are like, holy cow, this is crazy. So they're like, we got to get out of here. So they made a plan.
They're going to kill us. Yeah.
Yeah. So they made a plan to, the next morning when the grandmother brought the food up, they were going to be hiding in the closet, and they wouldn't be in the room. So she comes in the room, and she's like, where are the kids? She's wondering where they are. So she thinks they're in the attic. And so she goes to open the door, and he has like a bedpost or something.
Yeah, it's a bedpost.
Whacks her over the head, and they run out. Well, then they realize, as they are making their way through the house, that it is actually Corinne's wedding day.
It is wedding day. Going to the chapel, and we're... Oh my
It is the wedding day. And so...
And Chris kind of wanted just to take the kids and go.
Totally. And
Kathy's like, oh, hell no.
She's like, oh no, we're going to confront her.
That's right.
And so Corinne walks down the aisle. Oh, and by the way, the minister is like, we need to wait for your mom. These are all her friends. And she was like, I don't care. We're starting the ceremony.
It's my day.
It's my day.
Yes.
And so they start the ceremony, and she walks down the aisle, and you can see... No.
Oh, no,
Corinne.
you're talking about the mother right now. Yeah.
Corinne. And you can see the kids behind her, and they look like ghosts because they are so pale. and just unhealthy.
Yes.
And they follow her down the aisle. And as it starts, she says, they are like, hello, mother, or something like that. Or congratulations, mother.
Like, who are you? Like, she totally is denying
It is
that they are her children, that she knows anything about them. Like, she is like,
it is wild.
these are lies. These are lies.
It is absolutely wild that she is standing there in front of her 3 children, denying that they are her children. It is wild. She is crazy, greedy.
Yeah.
Awful.
She's just a horrible, crazy person.
Bart Winslow's like,
yeah. He kind of like starts backing up a little bit, like, whoa.
Yeah.
What am I getting into?
Yeah. He's like, okay, cuckoo. And so Kathy is like continuing like to berate her as she starts stepping back. And Kathy has one of the powdered sugar cookies in her hand, powdered arsenic cookies in her hand. And she's like, here, mother, take a bite of the cookie. And so she's backing up. And the mom is like, no, I'm backing up. And she falls backwards over the balcony. I forgot about this too until I rewatched it. I knew they had a confrontation, but I forgot she falls over the balcony backwards and her train gets hung up on the pergola and she gets hung. Like hangs
and you
herself.
See her feet dangling there. For some reason, and maybe it was one of the other books, I was thinking it was a fire. I was thinking there was a fire after the wedding and they walked away from the burning embers, but I was wrong.
That must be a different one.
Yeah, but Corinne's dead, grandmother's knocked out somewhere, and the kids flee the estate.
You see them walking out, and they're from behind, and they're holding hands and walking out, and it's kind of a cool shot. But
it is a cool shot, and then it comes full circle because we hear Kathy narrating again, like she did at the beginning,
about them leaving.
Yeah, and that they were starting a new life,
and they would never return
forget.
again.
Yeah, and never forgive their mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I will say this, the ending, so at the end of the movie, there were conflicts over content. Like Jeffrey Bloom walked off the production after being overruled on some of the changes and the vision he had versus, I guess, what others had. And so the original cut, we don't see. Because let me rephrase that. We don't see what Jeffrey Bloom had imagined. We see a revamped version that was less
inappropriate,
and definitely lighter than the dark finale it would have been had Jeff Bloom stayed on. Does that make sense? I kind of got my words all messed up there, but yeah.
Yeah, it was dark enough.
It was plenty dark for me, yes.
It was plenty dark. So, sister, does it measure up?
I mean, it measures up to an 80s unhinged B movie that's
spooky for spooky season.
I mean, I will say a lot of times I have my computer out and I'm taking notes when we watch the rewind. But I was pretty much glued to just watching it. Like, I didn't have a computer in my lap because, as I keep referencing the book, because the book was so, it wasn't impactful. That's not the right word. It was impressed so much weirdness in my head that probably a kid my age wouldn't. None of us needed to read that book.
I know. Why were we reading all those?
But I didn't remember what all the movies showed. And so, I mean, it had me on the edge of my seat.
Totally.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the creepiest of ways.
In the creepiest of ways. Like, what in the world?
Yeah.
It's a excellent 80s movie to kick off spooky season. I'm so excited that we did it. I think I mean, to me, this is the kind of spooky movie I like.
Like more of a thriller.
Yeah, not like gory blood and guts. And so to me, it stands up. Like, this is one that if it just was like on TV, I would totally have it on.
Turn it on while you're folding laundry or whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, just it's such, it brings back so many memories of my childhood and just the books and everybody like, oh my gosh, have you seen Flowers in the Attic? So like I said, I'll try to get a list together or a link or something if anyone's ever interested in reminiscing the books or looking through like, oh yeah, I read these. I remember.
Well, the creepiness is there, but the darkness isn't because you never see anything inappropriate, but it's that icky feeling that makes that
something's
hair
not quite right
on your arms like stand up.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad. I'm really glad it wasn't the darker version because I couldn't watch it. It was hard to even watch it at times thinking about what really happened.
Yeah. Or wondering, like, I can't remember if they show it or not. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I could not have my computer out and like doing research while I watched it. No way.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I do recommend if you've never seen it, especially with it being, like I said, our spooky season time, get a blanket and late one night. It's not long, so you can watch it pretty quickly. Pop some popcorn and have fun.
I had some popcorn yesterday with M&Ms in it, but I did it full fledged. I had popcorn, ranch sprinkled on it, not
M&Ms,
ranch powder, M&Ms and smoked paprika. I did the full meal deal with mine, and I ate every kernel from that bag.
I bet you did.
I did.
Yum.
All right, real fans, that's a wrap on Flowers in the Attic.
And now it's time for clues. Let's see if you can guess what movie we're rewinding next week.
Okay, clue number 1, and sticking with our spooky theme for October, a strange problem is haunting the city streets of a major metropolis.
Clue number 2, 3 unlikely entrepreneurs start a business that's truly out of this world.
And clue number 3, a possessed apartment building becomes ground zero for chaos.
I was going to make a music sound, but I decided not to because I thought you'd get mad at me for being too much of a giveaway.
Don't give it away.
Be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave us that 5-star review. Email us your screenshot at hellorealsistersrewind.com and we'll send you a Real Sisters sticker. Don't forget, we're on Instagram at Real Sisters Rewind. And we are also on Facebook, Real Sisters Rewind. So join us on our social media community.
That's right. Thanks for rewinding with us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.